This program is sponsored by TechTime Radio. Visit them online at techtimeradio.com.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of turbo debt?
No, what is that? Something to get me into debt faster?
No, turbo debt is not to get you in debt faster. It's to help you get out of debt. Do you have over $10,000 in credit card, personal loans, medical, or payday loans?
Of course I have debt. That's the American way.
Au contraire, mon frere. Turbo debt will give you the option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
Over 70% of Americans die with credit card debt. Do not let this happen to you. Turbo debt will give you an option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
If you have over $10,000 in credit card debt and personal loans, medical or payday loans, they can help. Go to turbodebt.com/techtime. Again, that's turbodebt.com/techtime, all capitalized, for a free consultation today. TurboDebt is a proud sponsor of this week's episode of TechTime Radio.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week. The show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. Each week our show covers the weekly top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes. And of course, with a little whiskey on the side. We are live streaming during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter/X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/TechTime Radio. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host, a technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise, working for Fortune 500 companies across the nation. And my co-host here, Mike Roday, is an award-winning author. Originally from Arizona, Mike's a human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike's here to keep me from geeking out while providing insight into human behavior and how it interacts with technology. Our whiskey connoisseur, Mark Gregoire, is a senior executive with a 30-year record of establishing, implementing, and refining the cutting-edge solutions to address business needs. He's a skilled whiskey drinker and is our go-to for our pick of the day expert. We are friends from different backgrounds.
Good to have skills.
That's right. We're friends from different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
Today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. This week, we are covering streaming service viewing has overtaken television viewing for the first time ever. Just like 70 years ago when TV viewing replaced radio listening. We're going to be talking about that. That's a really huge change.
We're going to have a new song come out?
Well, hang on. Yeah, then we have Netflix. They are looking to release a video game console. We have the inside news of that to compete with the PlayStation and Xbox. And why is Elon Musk having an auction? Hang on. The Netflix thing, you may laugh now, but there's some evidence that this may actually work out.
Are they releasing an actual console?
Yeah, well, you're going to have to listen to that.
Okay.
All right. And our security expert, Nick Espinosa, is here to explain why Colorado has millions of healthcare data stolen after a breach and the other top breaches of the month. Plus, Nathan explains a technology insider story on the 1997 Apple and Microsoft cooperative partnership that differs from what the press reported the day of the event itself. Join us as we create a clearer picture of how and why this deal happened. And then, of course, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment and a Nathan Nugget. As always, we have our pick of the day whiskey tasting here in the commercials to see if our selected whiskey pick gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Now it's time for the latest headline in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right, number one, Netflix is testing its video game service on more devices. In a press release today, they said that we are taking the first steps in making the games playable on every device where you enjoy Netflix, with a focus on TVs and computers. Let's go to the Video Game Insider from Zenky Goose in Canada as they provide information on this Netflix area.
See, Netflix doesn't want to compete with HBO, Disney, or Amazon anymore because their goal is taking your time. And games don't just take minutes, they take hours. Look, the average player plays 6 to 10 hours of Fortnite a week. So how on earth could Netflix even pull this off? Netflix is moving to big budget games and they're serious, which is why Netflix is building games for the PC. And guys, that's a way bigger deal than you might think, because it means Netflix doesn't care where you play. It doesn't care how you play. It means they want to win, and competitors are going to want to act fast. Netflix will have no choice but to launch the next video game console, because Netflix has a secret move that these guys think is completely impossible. You see, Netflix has the tech to allow anyone to play every single video game in the world for free. No subscriptions, no nothing. Absolutely free.
So let's talk about this. This is big news.
Yeah, let's talk about that because this still sounds like a ridiculous thing.
Oh, so here's what we got. So Netflix is continuing to plant itself in the video game market. So they have now gone from just being like a mobile device unit that you'd play on a television to being able to download games on both your Microsoft Intel PC and maybe your Mac Intel PC or Mac, your M1 or M2 PC, so that you can play these games in the cloud service. And they're not knockoff Candy Crush games. They're actually purchasing first-person shooters. They're purchasing
that are going to be free.
That will be free.
That are going to be full of microtransactions because that's how they're going to pay
No. So what they've said, so their chief of staff, who used to be the head at Microsoft, used to be the head at Bungie. He released a game called Halo. He is now in charge of their gaming division. What he's doing is he's actually coming on out where you can load Netflix software on a PC, and then you can actually download those games and play them. Is that like
my Steam service, my Steam Deck?
So it's like a Steam. So it's exactly like Steam. But now instead of you having to pay for Steam games where you pay $19 or $15 or $20 to download them on Steam, you're essentially going to be paying that monthly subscription service that you already pay to Netflix, and they're actually going to have that now available for probably a larger tier premium plan, but you'll be able to get it essentially in their minds free because it'll be just like the Xbox service.
Xbox Ultimate.
Yeah, it'll be Xbox, but instead of you having to buy the console or unit, all you have to do is buy one of their compatible units that they're looking at right now. So let's say right now you play it on an Android device, or you hook it up to your television. You can essentially use your phone as the controller, but right now they're coming up with the ability so you can actually, with PC and Mac users, download the game, and you can use your mouse and your keyboard and play like a standard game would do.
Okay, do you really think they have a shot here? Do you? Not what they were saying on this.
Yes,
funny...
I do because I think they're going to release a device for about $30, $25. Like, think of a Roku device that you have right now. You can buy those HD devices for $30 to $40. Now all of a sudden you buy this Netflix a streaming device. It only comes with Netflix already on it with your account, so think of it like a Steam device. Mm-hmm. And now if I'm already paying for Netflix on my television, and this is free video games that I get to play on a device itself that comes on out,
is this in addition to streaming, or is this separate from streaming?
So this device only runs in the cloud. It only runs in the cloud, so you have to have quick internet. But that's not really an issue. That. Yeah, it's not really an issue for the high-end gamers nowadays. And if you actually play in the cloud space, it can actually sometimes be quicker because you're just connecting in to that machine itself and you're playing on the fast speed servers. So that is what they're coming up with for a device. I think this has an absolute chance of success.
Okay, well, we'll see.
And we broke it here. This is really state-of-the-art news.
I am not confident in this because it sounds like he said
so let's say I got a Roku device, and all of a sudden Netflix partners with Roku and says, you know what, we want to put our whole platform in there.
That's probably something that you're happy about, but, I have all the games I need on the console that I already have, as well as the Steam on my PC.
Okay.
I don't have Netflix as a subscription service anymore.
Okay.
Because
Get T-Mobile and you get Netflix for like $1.99 a month.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
But I already have HBO, which they're whining about because all these streaming services. I get this, all these streaming services waited for Netflix to figure this stuff out, and then they're like, "Ba-bam, we're gonna do our own streaming service, and we're gonna call it Plus on everything."
Well, Netflix has to do something because they can't just continue.
They
don't want to be the Blockbuster and waits around and just kind of.
They tried this. They've tried this several times. Remember back?
Well, Google tried this too.
You remember back in the day when you could actually get video games sent to you via Netflix?
I do, yeah.
And
then I had to go to, and then they stopped doing that.
Yeah,
and I had to go
why?
to GameFly. I had to go to GameFly to rent my CDs, and then I illegally burned them, and then I'd send them back. And then I would play them, and then I would turn them back.
You're going to out yourself on the radio, national radio.
I didn't say any of that. Okay, all right, let's move on to story number 2.
Okay, well, we'll see. All right, so, hey, have you moved ever?
I've moved twice in my life, yes.
Okay, what do you usually do right before you move?
Decide on if I really want to move or not again, because I got to pack up everything.
You got a bunch of stuff. You have a yard sale, right?
Yeah, I got a yard sale.
Well, it sounds like Elon might be moving.
What's going on here?
So Elon Musk is already set to auction off all the Twitter stuff that is left in there.
Oh, at his company?
At whatever company.
Okay, so
this is
like
called
a garage
X
sale.
now. Yeah, this
Okay.
is having a big.
So like the big bird and stuff like that?
Elon Musk is putting the Twitter billing signs and other items from the company up for auction.
Okay.
I mean, this is weeks after he changed everything to X.
Yeah. Okay.
Among the 584 lots on offer are coffee tables, outsized bird cages, oil paintings, desks, chairs, a DJ booth. Enough musical instruments to, I don't know what they were doing, playing musical instruments at Twitterman.
I think they had a Twitter band.
They're getting rid of all the music stuff.
Okay.
Since he took over, he cut thousands of jobs, and now I guess he needs to make some extra money. So he's doing. I even have some of the items that he's auctioning.
Okay.
And even some of them are still mounted on the buildings.
Oh, so what happens?
The big bird that's mounted on the side of the building, the buyer ultimately is going to be responsible for hiring a San Francisco licensed company with appropriate permits to get that thing off of there.
He got in trouble for trying to do that himself and fined, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before.
We did.
So in an attempt to remove the Twitter sign, it was temporarily halted.
Yep.
Minimum offer for each lot is $25, according to the auction house Heritage Global Partner. Bidding begins on September 12th and is scheduled to end 2 days later. So they're going to have a 2-day auction for this stuff. And
did you get a sneak peek?
Well, I know that you were already scheduled. You have already signed up for this.
I got signed up and I got an early entry into the auction.
You are.
Yep.
But I have here a couple of things. One of the things that I've got here is a Framery Q meeting Maggie 1 to 4 person booth.
Okay.
So I guess these are little private booths that they had in Twitter where you could go and have quiet conversations with people. It looks like a little space age
pod.
It actually looks like a little space age breakfast nook.
Okay.
And, of course, the Twitter bird neon market light sign.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome hanging outside my house?
No.
I'm sure.
But I've seen your house, so I know it looks like some weird sort of mashup of everything.
Eclectic antique.
Yeah, it looks like an antique store for nerds.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to have
which
that.
Which is actually near and dear to my heart because you are my nerd hero when it comes to this stuff.
All right.
In other news.
Yeah.
In other Twitter news.
Okay, there's even more. Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg is not holding his breath over the Musk cage fight.
Uh-oh, what's happening now?
Well, apparently Musk is being a little bit disingenuous when he talks. Yeah. So
about what? About the business? About his posting?
About the actual date?
Oh, just the wrestling.
Fight.
Oh,
about
the cage fight.
Okay.
Right? I just want to make sure I understood what we were talking about.
So Mark Zuckerberg, I guess, is a martial arts enthusiast and said on Sunday, "I love this sport and will continue competing with people who train no matter." I guess he fights.
Okay.
Which I find funny. myself because I was a martial artist for 20 years.
Yeah.
I've fought.
Yeah, and you've trained, and this is.
I feel like I should go and beat Mark Zuckerberg.
That'd be kind of cool.
But I'm getting too old, so I don't know. But apparently, Elon has no interest in moving forward, and this comment, like so many others, was just a Twitter X flyer tweet for the day. So,
yeah, he does that all the time. He puts stuff out there on Twitter that makes no sense, and then he gets 10,000 people to respond to his stupid stuff.
Well, this is a really good case study for human behavior and following people, and how Musk can do something and just influence a bunch of people to do things. So,
well, you know what? We'll have to talk off air about the auction. Maybe we can go on in and get a big Twitter bird, and we can put it here in the studio.
I would rather have the little breakfast nook.
You want the breakfast nook?
That's the thing that's cool. I don't care about the Twitter bird.
Okay.
I don't care about.
It's Larry Bird, named after the Boston Celtic.
I know
that's a big deal there.
But these little futuristic pods, those are pretty cool.
All right, let me tell you about story number 3. LG is bringing a quirky, one-of-the-kind Stand By Me Go to the United States later this month. Now, do you know what the Stand By Me Go is?
No, what is that?
All right, so this is the holiday gift of the year. Sign up now. The Stand By Me Go is a 27-inch 1080p LCD TV housed in a large suitcase that contains a built-in battery and 20-watt speakers. The idea of this portable entertainment is you can take it out on a picnic. You can take it out to the woods. You can take it on a family vacation or just hanging out in the back patio. And essentially, you can have this in both landscape mode and portrait mode, so you can actually move the TV each way to see what you can do.
So it's not enough that we're glamping all over the place. Now we're glick picking.
That's right. And actually, the Stand By Me Go is also a touch display screen.
Yeah.
So you can actually load apps up on there, and you can have the LG's WebOS software load some of the greatest apps and streaming games, and you can actually control them.
Netflix?
Their streaming includes a remote, and also has the ability to have voice controls through the speaker. Now, I think you have to have the suitcase open, because someone was doing. I was watching a test of this, and it didn't look like they could get the device to activate with the suitcase.
How big
closed.
is the suitcase?
It looks like
Does it look like a big old Samsonite one?
It does.
Gorilla,
Absolutely.
remember the
And it's
gorilla
silver.
one that
it looks like
beat the crap out of the Samsonite?
Did you ever watch Let's Make a Deal, and they had those people on the stage that they open the suitcases? Looks exactly like that. So think of that as having a suitcase.
So anybody hanging out with a big Samsonite, they got a TV and Netflix video games in there.
That's right.
How long does it last?
Well, let's say they last anywhere up to 2 to 3 hours, depending on the settings. So I'm sure it's probably 2 hours, and
so this is
3
really
hours
not something you want to take on a picnic.
But if you order now, you pre-order before the holidays, you can get the X-Boom 360 Bluetooth speaker, normally at $249 for free. Now, story number 4: television accounts for less than half of the U.S. viewing time for the first time ever. A new report that just came on out. Essentially, the Nielsen ratings is the data where people watch items, right? So is it the Nielsen ratings or the Nelson ratings? Which one do you have it as?
It's Nielsen ratings.
Okay, Nielsen ratings. All right, the Nielsen ratings that came on out essentially said that viewerships have fell by 50%.
That's 'cause he doesn't care what it is.
50%
She's laughing
over last year. The streaming service essentially has captured 38.7% of Americans' viewing time. And the other, which they label essentially DVD playback and gaming, accounts for 11.6%. Meaning that essentially actual television viewing through the standard broadcast processes and cable are less than streaming services.
Yeah, that's because we don't have to deal with a lot of stuff.
Well, that's great, because our fourth annual Lace Awards are just around the corner.
I know you're
and we're so excited to have them in detail. And who will win the coveted Master Award this year for
Did you just
want to
plug the Lace Awards just so that's why you talked about that whole thing?
All right. Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week, yes. Moving on, we have our major disruptions going on from the cyber attacks. We're going to explore this in our next segment, Ask the Expert with Nick Espinosa. Nick is back by popular demand and is on fire with these issues, so you do not want to miss this. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. We'll be back after the commercial break. Hello, listeners. We're excited here at TechTime Radio, aren't we, Mike?
Oh, no.
We have an announcement to make. We are so excited to be a part of the new launch of iTalk Radio Live, the internet 24/7 streaming service. You will still be able to listen to us live here at Kixie 880 and KKNW and all of our affiliate stations, but you'll be able to listen to us at 8 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday now. We look forward to this new opportunity to provide you TechTime Radio every weekday. And again, you can always catch us online at techtimeradio.com. Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Tech Time's a weekly hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Brought to you by myself, Nathan Mumm, Mike Gourdet, and Mark Gregoire. We just finished our first whiskey tasting during the break. Mark, tell us what we are sipping for our pick of the day.
Well, first, thank you. I'm back in the studio this week. I appreciate it. Missing 1 week, and you give a thumbs up to the Black Velvet. I had to come back.
Okay.
That's just embarrassing.
The Black Velvet wasn't as bad.
We're not even talking about it. It's
It
not
was
even
water.
He was mad
it
about
was,
that
It
last
was
night
the
for
La
production.
Croix of whiskey.
Yeah, it was just water with a little bit of flavor.
So today I have brought in Frank August Small Batch Kentucky Straight Bourbon. So from their website, they state the state being frank, the
Okay.
state of being frank, it means open, honest, sincere. A philosophy we have built our brand upon. So let the story of bourbon continue as the story of Frank August begins. Frank August has sweet caramel and vanilla notes on the front of your tongue, with cinnamon and rye bread spices coming forward as it gradually transitions to the back of your tongue. At 100 proof, it is the perfect balance of heat and smoothness that warms your mouth while hints of brown and malt sugars begin to present themselves. It then leaves a medium-long finish, waiting or wanting you to pour another glass.
This is good.
Okay,
And I can
tasted
taste
none
the
of
cinnamon.
That.
I love the
can
cinnamon.
I tasted none
Oh,
of that.
absolutely
I had this,
cinnamon.
I had
Take
this-
another taste.
I had
Cinnamon.
this. I had this really nice smoky taste that I got initially. That was really yummy.
Oh, it's got a really nice cinnamon taste.
And I can taste the cinnamon on the finish. I can't taste it up front.
So the company is Frank August. It's sourced from an undisclosed distillery in Kentucky. It's straight bourbon. It's at least 4 years old. It's 100 proof. It's undisclosed mash bill of a high rye. And the price is $70.
Wow.
I think Mark has finally corrupted me on the rye whiskey.
On the rye whiskey.
It's not a rye. It's a high rye.
It's a high rye
So it's still
bourbon,
bourbon,
but
so it's still at least
it's still-
51% corn.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the secondary grain is a rye, and it's on the higher side.
And man, you know what? They don't have any fancy label. You know what? You don't have to have a fancy label
I like the
if
bottle.
you just make good bourbon. You know that?
I would have just for the bottle.
You're going to learn a lot more about the bottle during the mumbles.
All right. Oh, well, that was our first whiskey tasting now complete. Let's move on to our feature segment. We have our technology expert, Nick Espinosa, joining the show. He's an expert in cybersecurity and network infrastructure. Nick Espinosa has consulted with clients ranging from small business to the Fortune 100 level. In 1998, at the age of 19, Nick founded Windy City Networks, later acquired in 2015. He then created the Security Fanatics, where he is the chief security fanatic right now today. Let's welcome Nick to our video stream to start our next segment.
Welcome to the segment we call Ask the Experts, with our TechTime Radio expert, Nick Espinosa.
All right, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Welcome to the show. How have you been? It's been a while since we had you on our show, so we're glad to have you back.
I'm good. I've been all over the place.
You've been all over the place.
But-
Well, I like you back in your traditional office space. I mean, that's the Star Trek heaven. Hopefully, you finished watching Star Trek Season 2 of Strange New Worlds. Are you all caught up with that?
So, I believe I'm only one episode back, but I missed it because I was actually at the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas.
Okay, well, that's, I guess, a good reason to miss. Is that the one where they had Shatner? Shatner came out and he was on talking with the other Star Trek guy on stage?
Yeah, Shatner was there and just a whole bunch of Star Trek alum that couldn't talk about anything because of the SAG strike. So I got to learn about gardening and other various endeavors that they all do, as opposed to the actual new stuff coming out. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
All
Still
right.
burned you, though.
All right, well, let's talk about the last few weeks in cybersecurity. Boy, it's been troubling, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Colorado says millions have had their health data stolen after the Move It breach. Is it Move IT breach or is it Move It breach? Okay.
Move It.
Colorado Department of Health Care Policy and Financing, the HCPF, is the latest victim in the Move It supply chain attack, with the agency warning that records belonging to millions have been stolen. Nick, How did this happen, and who's behind this attack?
Dude, I swear, this has been all Move It all the time. You know, I do my Sunday breaches of the week videos, podcasts, all that stuff, and Move It is just every week. So 1.7 million records. I'm sorry, that's Oregon, who also had the same hit due to Move It. But yeah, millions in Colorado. Clop, the ransomware gang out of Russia, is the one that's actually taking responsibility, and they have hit a ton of organizations. So, like you said, basically, Move It is a piece of software that allows an organization or a company to move data from one place to another place. And so, a lot of companies had these publicly exposed. They didn't realize there was some massive flaw out there that could be exposed, which would allow somebody to log in to Move It without actually needing credentials. And so basically the Clop Russianware gang and others figured it out, started logging in, copying out all that data, and then holding it for ransom. And so Clop will make tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on this when the dust settles. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy.
So who's the company that produces Move It? Is it a large company or an independent company?
So the company is originally was called Ipswitch, and you might remember them from their FTP software way back in the day. But the company
I recall Ipswitch.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do too.
It's called Progress or Progressive, and this is just one of many products that they've got. But Move It was very popular in IT infrastructure because it's a very simple way to just move A to B on a regular basis, right? You just schedule it up, let it go, don't have to think about it. And so a lot of these just sat there for years, just moving data as they were committed to.
Yeah, it's kind of the root commands of like a Dell tree, right? So you take one. Now I'm getting way too nerdy.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Okay,
moving on.
It makes
got
it
to
easier.
move it.
Yeah, you don't have to type in commands. You just have a nice interface. Say drag this to this, and it does it. It's nothing fancy, but it was pretty effective in its job until it had a massive vulnerability and got everybody screwed. So
all right. So right now they have 600 totaled breaches that they're talking about.
At least.
At least. So name some of the large companies that have been besides the Colorado. Big news that they had from their health department today. Name a couple other companies that have been breached with this.
Dude, everybody's getting hit with this thing. The last week alone, I went back in my notes for my last breaches. Oregon Health Plan for 1.7 million. Michigan State University, Allegheny County, Johns Hopkins increased their update to over 300,000 hit. Vermont Department of Financial Regulation, Indiana University, Florida Healthy Kids, the U.S. government contractor Serco for tens of thousands. Global Radius Solutions, a debt collector for 600,000. Bank of America is caught up in this for 30,000. Hillsborough County and 70,000. Indiana Medicaid for 744,000, and on and on and on. There's every week there's just more coming out, and it's just this is why we drink.
That is right.
That's crazy.
That's not
crazy.
why I drink, but that's a good excuse as any.
That's right. So let me just tell you, I hope these companies have insurance. Speaking of insurance, let's talk about what happened on August 1st, 2023. The Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, I guess it's known as Progressive, filed a notice of data breach with the Attorney General of Maine after discovering that employees of a third-party vendor improperly shared their Progressive access credentials when unauthorized individuals. What is this breach about, and what happens when your insurance company that you have cyber insurance gets compromised?
Well, so insurance companies have reinsurance companies that back them up. So they'll I think be okay. But if you're a Progressive user, holy cow, this is obviously not good. Now Progressive, I think that's the one with Flo, if I remember. You know, the one
that's
Flo,
her.
right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, they got Flo, and they got the Barbie house ads running right now for the Barbie movie, and
Right. Now that said, they said that they got hit by a third-party vendor, but is it Move It? Is it something else? We don't know. They're not saying which third party of theirs got hit, although I figure in disclosures at some point we may learn that. But what they are saying is 347,100 customers had their names, address, driver's license, email address, phone numbers, dates of birth, and other confidential information exposed in this data breach. So basically, if you are a Progressive member, meaning you're using them for all your insurance needs, you may eventually be entitled to compensation, and that's probably what's going to happen here.
I was sitting here thinking, man, I kind of think I dodged some bullets there, but I think I used Progressive for motorcycle insurance a few years back.
Okay,
them and Geico are the two big ones for motorcycles. But yeah, just FYI, heads up, Progressive.
Heads up. All right. So is there any other? Before I go into our last story to talk about here, any other major breaches we should talk about that have happened?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much. Like, Bank of America was one. Hot Topic, the retail store got hit. Like, it's just it was just
now, what are you gonna get from the Hot Topic thing?
Why
You're
are
gonna
we
get
gonna hack Hot Topic?
all those crazy things you buy in there, and then they just
So you can
start
get
calling it up.
goth stuff.
Yeah,
Goth
I mean, just so much stuff that's happening. China's writing new breach laws, which are really weird because they usually don't ask for public response, and now they're asking public response for facial recognition. It's been a very bizarre week or two in data breaches since I've last seen you. But everybody's hacking everybody, and that hasn't changed.
See, what happened during COVID, it all slowed down.
Yeah.
We kind of focused on a lot of stuff, and now COVID's no longer here because you never hear about it. So now, you know what? We're all back to let's steal as much as we can.
I think we just need to go ahead and hack into this bottle of bourbon. And
there you go.
Forget about this stuff.
All right, Nick.
I second that.
All right, Ukrainian intelligence officials have revealed an attempt by Russian state hackers to penetrate the military planning operation systems.
Yep.
The hackers from Russian military intelligence captured Android tablet devices used by Ukrainian officers on the front line in an attempt to spy, according to a report published by the Security Service of Ukraine's Cybersecurity Situation Center. Now, we know, Nick, for longtime listeners on our show, that you have a real passion regarding Ukraine and cyber attacks, and you've been very helpful in helping Ukraine during their conflict with Russia that we have going on right now. Can you give us a little bit of update of what happened here and what happened? Did somebody leave a tablet out and they decided they were going to try to reverse engineer it, or what happened?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, the Russians trying to hack into Ukrainian infrastructure. I mean, in other news, the sky is blue, water is wet. This is unfortunately just one of those things. And if you're asking me if they successfully hacked into Ukrainian infrastructure, the answer is kind of a yes and no kind of answer. So it's a yes in the sense that a Russian intelligence group out of the GRU known as Sandworm, that's how they're identified here, was able to successfully hack into some Ukrainian tablets. Now, those tablets are actually connected to a platform called Delta. This is what the Ukrainians use essentially for their military coordination, scenarios, all that kind of stuff. But the answer is also kind of no, in that according to Ukrainian sources, the Ukrainians fortunately caught it early and say that the Russians did not gain full access into their military operations system. So that said, the Russians are going to keep going. They're going to keep trying to hit Ukrainian infrastructure for as much as they can, just in the same way that we're not going to stop trying to break into Russian infrastructure and mess them up too. And so this is just this kind of cat and mouse game. And like I said before, this earlier, this is not new at all, and this is not their first attempt by far. Last December, they broke into Ukrainian military email accounts, basically sending phishing across the entire Delta platform to all of those users. Last summer as well, they created a fake version of the Delta website to try and fool Ukrainian military to give up their credentials to a phishing site, and on and on. They're going to continue to do this, and this is going to continue to be that cat and mouse game. But at the same token, the Ukrainian cyber army and their allies are taken to the Russians as well. So
man, things have changed since the Cold War, man.
What's that? Well, that's if you ever leave it, I mean,
James Bond.
Yeah.
Just think about it. James Bond is now somebody who looks like you and lives in your mom's basement.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe.
I don't have an Aston Martin.
I don't know if that's exactly what you're saying, but Q always helped out James Bond. Q always had the gadgets. So what you're saying is it's more of
no. Don't try and rescue yourself here.
No.
He's like,
if you want to call me James Bond, thank you.
No, it's not James
Nathan
Bond.
Mumm.
It's the fourth Die Hard, where Bruce Willis took a backseat to the nerd Justin Long.
Oh yeah, Justin Long.
That's
There you go.
From I have a PC and I have a Mac commercial. That's right. All right. Well, Nick, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Now, I watch your Twitter feeds and I retweet them out and I enjoy them. But if
your X feeds, you got to get on the
or
program.
My X, well, there's still because you still got to go to twitter.com to log into it. They don't have x.com. So this, again, horrible marketing because I can't go to
probably a different type of website.
Yeah. You want to know something else that just dropped today too?
What's that?
That we found out that Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, is actually slowing down traffic to websites that Elon Musk doesn't like because they're critical of him. So the absolute free speech person is slowing down traffic to detractors of his.
That's free speech. That's free speech
on
for
delay.
Everybody but him.
It's modem speeds. You know what?
I control free speech.
But
that's the way that works.
But where can people find out more information, where can they contact you? Where can they find out information for all of our listening fans that love you? Let me just tell you, when you're on the show, our ratings always go up very high. So where can they find that information? Right now, we have 2,099 people watching our stream on YouTube, not on Twitter, on YouTube.
Twitch.
So, no, so that just tells you, Nick, that they enjoy watching it. Where can they find out more about you?
Well, first things first, audience, I need a writing campaign, so these two will pay me. That's the first thing I need. Second, you can follow me Facebook and Twitter or X or Elon Musk's newest play toy, whatever you want to call it, at Nick A ESP. Same with YouTube /Nick Espinosa. Come say hi. Come connect to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hang out.
That's right. All right, checks in the mail there, buddy. All right.
Really?
There it is.
Actually, I got to send him some more whiskey. I got some more whiskey, but I'm not sending him this whiskey.
You can't send
though.
him this stuff.
No, he did get some whiskey. I got 3 or 4 more bottles, Nick. I'll have to send them your way as fluorescent lights. So they'll be coming to you. All right. We appreciate you so much. We love having you on the show. Take care, and I'm sure we'll talk to you next month.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye, Nick.
See ya.
All right. We always thank Nick Espinosa for the time that he spends on our show. Now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we're going to be doing so during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio. This whiskey is pretty good. Did you see I had a little bit of a shot between that? Okay, we'll talk about that.
You drink more.
All right, you're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes.
This is Mark.
And Greg.
For Copiers Northwest.
With a terrific offer.
Called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner.
One of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service.
As long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers.
Or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives.
And let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, we go back to August 14th, 2006. Dell and Sony admit laptops could catch on fire. Dell and Sony admitted the flaws in the Sony manufactured batteries used in certain Dell laptops that could result in batteries overheating, catching fire, and even exploding.
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, this was when you're sitting in a meeting and all of a sudden you have a video conference call on and your laptop
really
just goes
hot.
up in fire. Nothing's better than that. This came after several widely publicized reports in the preceding months where Dell laptops did catch fire and were videotaped at that time. This issue called a recall of the 4.1 million batteries, the largest safety recall in the history of consumer electronics industry still to this day. Even Samsung's famous Galaxy Note 7, which was talked about on many of the comedy channels when it was going up. The best is South Park's episode of the Galaxy 7's exploding. Only had 2.5 million units. So if you think of that, it was almost double that amount that they had to take back in, again, 2006. So, I mean, this was a good 60 to 70% of the Dell line that had these batteries that were recalled.
I dodged that bullet by just barely.
Yeah, you know what? I was probably still using a compact laptop or a Toshiba laptop that was still manufactured at that time. So, all right, that was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history with over 2 years of video, podcast, and blog information, you can always visit us at techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows or join the Tech Timers Facebook group to talk with us all the time. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Mark's Mumble Whiskey Review. And instead of our technology fail, we're going to move that into the Nathan Nugget. We'll see you after this break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
Great again to be back in the studio with you two.
All right. We'll enjoy you being here, too.
So you do know what we're celebrating today, right?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm sure. No, we cannot. I tried to find your stuff. Where you
it's
get
not
it.
going to be avocado in your toast day, is it?
Picking pickles and putting them on your neighbor's front porch, or what do we have today?
That was zucchini.
Oh, zucchini. Whatever.
Week.
Okay.
No, today is Chant at the Moon Day.
Oh, wow. Okay, chant at the moon.
So, Nathan, you may join thousands of people around the country to chant or even howl into the heavens as part of Chant of the Moon Day.
Okay.
This is an annual event inspired by Wenatchee, Washington-based fruit grower Stemets. According to local legend, harvesting their cherries around the full moon makes them sweeter. So the moon's gravitational pull enhances the tree roots where the cherries are grown. So they decided that it needs a celebration.
And they get together and chant, too. Huh?
So get all your friends.
That sounds a little weird.
And that's Wenatchee.
Yeah, let loose your best lunar howl.
Okay.
Chanting and howling are two different things, Mark.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't know how to do both of them, but I'll be outside tonight looking for the people. And there you go.
Are you going to howl?
No, I'm not going to howl. But thank you, though. I'm excited to now know this. If anybody ever asks
you're
me,
going to draw a little circle on the ground.
August 15th is very important to people because you can howl at the moon day.
Well, I don't know about it.
All right, tell us about this.
You don't have a cherry tree,
well,
so I don't
as
think
you're
that's gonna
howling
count.
tonight at the moon, especially on August 30th, because that's the rare blue supermoon that will not happen again till 2032.
All right.
Feel free to sip some Frank August.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
So now, as far as I know, Frank August is not an actual person, just the name of this bourbon. There's not much information about this whiskey as it is sourced and remarketed. The bottle design is sleek and simple. At the front of the bottle features the words Frank August in small print, and that's it on the clear bottle. And the back of the bottle has a removable label, so you can remove that and use the bottle as a water pitcher or decanter.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this bourbon is an easy drinker. Like the bottle, it's simple and straightforward with most of the classic bourbon notes, vanilla, brown sugar, bacon spices, some slight spice with nothing too sharp or out of place. It's not a wow you, nor it's a disappoint you. At the price point of $70, it's a bit on the high end for what you're getting, but I've seen this price at some stores creeping up over $100. For that, it's not worth purchasing it. Just find it at a bar for a pour. $70. I'm glad I have this bottle to share with you guys.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was really
Thank
good.
you. I got to go and raid Mark's liquor cabinet.
It's
got to be like the high end liquor.
I think your credibility on the thumbs up, thumbs down thing is just lost after last week.
If it tastes good and I don't have a bite to it,
there was no taste.
I also.
Well, actually, there was.
What's my beer of choice though?
I can't say it.
Right? So I'm a light beer drinker. So
So you have no taste for alcohol.
Wow.
And you don't need to read my liquor cabinet. You end up with all of it here at your show.
That's right. You know what? Nothing's better than whiskey and technology.
Oh, no.
Nothing, well, except for maybe the pairing.
Copy and paste?
Of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. What do you think about that, Mike?
Ben and Jerry.
Right?
I feel like you're reaching.
All right.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you very much, Mark. Let's get ready now to do our Nathan Nugget a bit earlier than normal so we can continue our conversation from last week.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, so
get that in there, huh?
Yeah, well, you know what? Last week I said we were going to talk about this, and we didn't, and I got called on the carpet by many of my loyal listeners. Thank you very much for the people that were complaining. I get you. So let's review what I talked about last week. It was during, of course, our technology look back, and it was essentially August 6th, 1997. Apple and Microsoft call a truce. That was the title that we talked about. At the Macworld Expo in Boston, Steve Jobs announced that Apple and Microsoft had signed a 5-year alliance. Bill Gates makes a big appearance on the large presentation screen during the announcement. As part of the deal, Microsoft committed to continuing the development of Microsoft Office for Mac over the next 5 years, and Internet Explorer is the browser for Apple moving forward. Now, let me just tell you, we're going to go into this in great detail. None of this has to do with the Microsoft Office Mac and Explorer browser for Apple. That was what was led. That is what you can still Google on. That's all that you see on the news articles. None of this has anything to do with that at all. But let's talk about what the partnership actually included. It included a cross-licensing agreement. Very important, a cross-licensing agreement, meaning if one of the companies decided to license something, the other company could just use it without having to license it. A 5-year deal for continued development of Office for the Mac platform. Microsoft was not going to stop doing any development, so that's kind of a little red herring there. The designation of Internet Explorer as the default Mac web browser. Mac cared nothing about that because 5 years later they replace it with
This is when Apple was struggling.
So let's talk about that. So that's what everybody believes. Apple was struggling. If Microsoft didn't come on and pay $150 million investment, Apple was going to go under, right? That's what everybody believes. Let's take a look at it. According to legend, Microsoft was the force that pumped millions into Apple to prop up the struggling rival to be a competitor, and then also a way to fool the feds who were not hot on their tail to lead this monopoly trial and break up Microsoft, or at least that's what the press was saying to everybody else. In addition, during the time, I was working in the executive support role supporting VPs and above at Microsoft 24/7, 365 days a year with a team of 3 other individuals. Now, it's very fashionable among Microsoft staff to feel our company bailed Apple out at the success now being enjoyed by Apple should rightly be delivered to Microsoft in tribute, but that is not the case. Let's take a look at the facts. Apple had just reported holdings of $1.2 billion in cash at the time. That's how much money they had available. Why would $150 million make any significant difference to the survival of a company when they had a reservoir of $1.2 billion in cash? The antitrust angle was just a red herring. Following the Federal Trade Commission's inquiry into Microsoft's monopoly abuse, the Department of Justice opened its own investigation in 1993 and reached a settlement with the company a year later. So this happened way after that. So there was no real Department of Justice monopoly items going on. That had already passed. Since delivering the new version of Mac Office and investing millions in Apple, could there be nothing to shield Microsoft from the antitrust deal? That was what was behind this deal? No, that is incorrect. Microsoft was positioning Internet Explorer as the primary negotiation for Apple. That is not the case either. The real reason Microsoft agreed to commit to Mac Office and lend some of the symbolic support to Apple with the stock purchase was to resolve outstanding patent issues. Now, what wasn't widely reported about the July 1997 agreement was the subtle mention of other payments Microsoft agreed to make in addition to the investment of the $150 million in stock. These other payments were never publicly disclosed, but Apple's financial records suggested it was substantial. Despite losing $850 million the year before and over $1 billion in 1997, Apple mysteriously managed to maintain its investment and actually accumulated more cash. In 1999, David Every wrote in an article on McAdoo that Microsoft was rumored to have paid Apple between $500 million and $2 billion over several years as part of the deal. How much did Microsoft actually pay Apple? Given that the agreement settled a series of patent infringements and code theft cases, it seemed reasonable that Apple's damages were significant. In comparison, the 1997 agreement killed the ongoing lawsuits and conflict related to Microsoft copyright violation, patent infringements, and stolen code.
So you're saying this is a face-saving thing.
That created the impression that a new partnership and corporation that was now in place between two companies that were both longtime rivals and partners. Apple had nothing left to sue over, and Microsoft had nothing left to violate.
That's because they got all the stuff that they wanted from a cross-platform agreement.
So
right?
what I'm saying is that I believe Dave Every wrote an article that was pretty much on point of exactly what happened. Now, this is what was happening at the time. And you can go back and take a look at press information. This is all out in the public, is that Microsoft was being sued by Apple, and there was 3 to 4 cases that had just gone through. And in effect, Apple did not hire good enough lawyers to prove their cases against Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So Microsoft was battling this legal front and kept on winning and kept on winning and kept on winning.
And they were like, hey, let's take a look at what we're doing here. We can all come out smelling like roses.
Well, okay. Is that what you think? That just makes some sense to that, doesn't that, Mike?
It sounds like a backdoor deal.
Okay.
In order to make some stuff go away.
Make some stuff go away, and then everybody was happy. And then they all
Sure.
lived in peace for
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, sure they did.
And then after 5 years, they all went back to bashing on everything else that needed to be taken care of.
That's right.
Okay, I think you're onto something there, Mike. I think you got it pretty good there. All right, well,
Okay.
we're going to head out to our last commercial break. When we return, we still have Mike's mesmerizing moment and our pick of the day. So sit back, raise a glass. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon, the Bookpository, and more.
Well, welcome back to Tech Time. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. Now let's get to the highlighted segment of the day with Mike's mesmerizing moment, brought to us by Story Coffee. This is Mike's mesmerizing moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit Story Coffee. All right, can tech rivals ever be friends? Let's take Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, or even Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Can tech rivals be friends?
I don't know. How do you define friends?
Well, or is it good to have rivalry so that essentially it brings the best out of everyone? Tell us your thought and your view on this, Mike.
Let's just sort of look at this from a human behavior standpoint. If you're a rival with somebody,
yep,
that's a pleasant way of saying enemy.
Okay.
Because you're both trying to do something that the other is trying to not do. Or you're both looking for the same prize.
Okay.
Okay, so each of these folks that you're talking about, they're trying to create something, and their goal is to get a market share or something. But if I'm your rival, it's really kind of hard to keep, if you say you're friends.
Yeah.
It's really hard to keep things in perspective when part of that friendship / rivalry means that I have to do stuff to make you look bad, because that's going to make me look good. And it's really hard not to take that personally.
Okay.
And so it's really not a natural situation for somebody who is rivals in some sort of ultra big business.
Yeah.
To actually be able to claim friendship, because there's always competition. When there's always competition, there's really no room for cooperation.
Okay.
And that's kind of the basis of friendship, right? Is that you want to cooperate on things. You know, we don't get together on Sea of Thieves,
yeah,
to fight each other. We get on there because we enjoy doing the game together.
Yep.
Regardless of whether or not I think you always attacking everybody is a wise decision.
Okay.
But that's what we do, right?
Yep.
So the basis of what we call friendship has to have some sort of cooperative level. And when we're talking about competitive rivals, that usually takes a back seat. So I would say probably not.
Okay, that makes sense. I would agree that I don't think people that are rivals become friends.
I think the structure that we set around those things makes it impossible to actually be friends, because, you know, you would have to keep secrets from each other. Yep. You can't.
You're trying to steal employees from each other.
Yeah,
you're trying to take the upper hand, right?
There can be respect.
Yeah.
But I don't think there can be friendship.
That makes sense. You ever watch the Celtics and the Lakers back in the days in the 80s, right? I mean, they hated each other, but yet they both had respects. That both of their teams were very good teams.
You can respect the people that you're rivals with, but I don't think friendship can really fall into that relationship.
All right, that makes sense. All right, well, now let's move on to our pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
All right, Mark, review what we're sipping again today.
We're sipping on Frank August Small Batch Kentucky Straight Bourbon. And while you sip on that, I need a little bit more because I need to feel better after Mike's mesmerizing moment. Does that mean no more family game night?
Well, I think family.
That depends.
Well, if you're at the Mumm household, let me just tell you, family game night, it's all about killing dad.
It's brutal.
It's three versus one, and every time when my wife and the kids sit down, it's like
brutal.
3 versus 1. Yeah.
It's brutal watching them compete against each other.
Mike's seen it. I mean,
and if you've ever had somebody who's ultra competitive, like a spouse or something,
Yeah.
you tend to be like, no, we're not going to family game night anymore. That's no.
You just don't get it.
You're just too they win at all costs, and that means they'll call you all kinds of names and get in your head and do all kinds of psych warfare and be like, meh.
Well, what I don't get is when my kids win, and so they don't even relish the winning. Then they want to play a different game like 5 minutes later.
That's 'cause
and they want to win again on that one. It's like
it's just about rubbing your face in losing.
All right.
So talking about rubbing your face, what do you think about what you just put in your face?
Oh man, this is good stuff. This is fantastic.
He's gonna give it a thumb down because that's the way it rolls.
No,
with it.
absolutely thumbs up. This is fantastic whiskey. This is maybe the best we've had this year, in my opinion. I like it.
I don't know if I can qualify it that, but this is really good. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
If you're sipping it, what would you get, Mark?
I'm a thumbs up for the price I paid.
Okay, $100 no.
$100 no, it's getting a little too much. You can do other things for that price.
All right, guys. Well, we're just about out of time. We want to thank our listeners for joining the program. If you want to talk more about us, you can always visit us online at techtimeradio.com and click on the Be a Caller. Ask us a question on technology, or you can send us, of course, your letters, and I'll read those on the air. I just want to thank everybody for being a part of our show. Remember, the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.